with another installment of the Diaries of a Memoirist. And if you have just stumbled upon this video and you don't know me from a bar of soap, you just saw a pretty face and a nice thumbnail and you clicked, my name is Lebupule. I am an author, a memoirist. I've written two memoirs titled Alone, Growing Up in Alexandra, and Alone from Hustling to Healing. Here on YouTube, I'm also a teacher and a life coach. I have a private space where you can join if you like what you hear. On Patreon, it's called Lebubule's Work. I am here on YouTube reading from my books as part of my teaching and coaching and guiding, and just really trying out to share my story, my life with you here on YouTube as a way of starting a YouTube channel. And so far, so good. But I really, really would like you to subscribe. Please subscribe and like so that the algorithms of YouTube can see that, people like what they see. However, please subscribe and like if you really like, I mean, I want to just be very, very honest here. I'm a YouTuber. I consume a lot of YouTube and I'm very, very hard. I'm one of those people that it will take me a few videos before I like and subscribe. And before I subscribe, I will always like, if I like what I hear, I will always like. I think that's important. I think it's courteous. But I'm hard when it comes to subscribing because I like consistency. I don't want to be clickbaited, and I want to be sure that I am subscribing to a content that I will watch for a long time. I want to resonate, I want to connect, I want to like, I want to learn, I want to grow, I want to transform. I want you to do something to me for me to subscribe to you. So that I know that you are part of my diet, you are part of my YouTube diet. I don't want to just keep subscribing and just filling up my subscriptions with things that I will only watch once. So if you're going to subscribe, if it means you must watch maybe a few more videos, see me a few more times, see if I'm consistent, see if I know what I'm talking about, see if you like me, see if you're growing, see if you're transforming, see if you're resonating, then, you can subscribe. But please subscribe now. Please, because I know others always say that numbers don't matter. At the beginning, numbers do matter. Eventually, maybe numbers don't matter. Maybe eventually numbers don't matter. But when you are ready, please do subscribe. So today, I was thinking today it's Mother's Day. It's Sunday, even though I'm recording on a Thursday, but this is coming out on Sunday, which is Mother's Day. And did you know that Mother's Day is celebrated in over 77 countries across the globe? So it's a very, very big day. And when I thought of that, I thought, okay, perhaps I can read certain aspects in the book that refer to my mom. But when I look at them, they are linked to other themes that I really want us to get into, as part of this, read, reflect, and leave some pearls of wisdom, some lessons behind, and some things to think about. So every passage that I tried to read, in order to honor my mom, then gets into other themes that I think I will not do them justice. But then I also wanted to do a video on Mother's Day and share some thoughts on motherhood and mothering and all, because it's a big archetype. Being a mother is a huge, huge thing, and it's a huge archetype. And it's not so much that we don't like fathers, but there's a reason why a mother matters so much in this world. There's a reason why there's yo mama jokes and there's no yo dad jokes. There's a reason why it's called Mother Earth. There's a reason why in most of the animal kingdom, in most, not all, it is the mother that takes care of the babies. I mean, you look at the lion, you look at the lions, it is the mothers that dominate. The pride is dominated by mothers. The pride is the mothers are the ones that hunt and provide for their children, while the fathers do the whole protecting and security. So being a mother, or the whole mother archetype, is a huge one, which is why one of the lessons that I teach in my school is on mother wound, healing the mother wound, mother love, mother wound. And if you're interested in that, you can really join on Patreon and become one of the students, because I will be recording a separate teaching on the mother wound, So I thought, let me just do a video here on YouTube about the mother thing. And then I battled, because it's a big subject, as I say, and it's a huge, and with someone like me who is a life teacher, it's easy for me to go down very deep rabbit holes, and sometimes it's not helpful, especially as I'm new on YouTube and a lot of you are new to me. I don't want to go to the deep dive as yet. So I felt mother wound would be a bit too hectic, a topic on Mother's Day. On Mother's Day, we want to be happy, we want to give them flowers, we want to thank them, we want to cook for them, we want to take them out. We really just want to do good things for mothers. So what topic and what way can I honor this day in a way that gives you depth, that gives you some things to think about, that teaches. And so I thought of myself as a mom. I'm a mother of three, and I want to share something that's going to be a little bit deep, but it's a good deep. It's a nice stretch. It's going to stretch you a little bit, especially if you're new to this type of content. And then we'll see where it takes us. And I want to close with obviously honoring my mom and what I've learned from her. My mom passed on in 2017. And it's so, so strange that as the more the years go by, the more I feel like I'm more connected to my mother, which I will explain as time goes on, as we are doing this, teachings on YouTube, on my YouTube channel, and doing these diaries of a memorist. So, me as a mother. So the whole thing of being a mother for me does not feel, it feels like I've always been a mom, if I can put it that way. I feel like I was born and I was a mom, mainly because of how quickly I had children. My first child I had at 16, as you know, and we are still going to read, we're still going to get into the details and the intricacies of my pregnancy and so on. Even though I touched on it a little bit in the previous videos, please look at the previous videos, especially if you are new. And so I had a daughter, my daughter Tsulofelo at 16, and then I had my son Tebe at 22, which is also still quite young. And then I had the baby, Dao, the baby. Mind you, the baby is 17 at 31. Back in the days when I used to work, when I used to do my stints at jobs, I used to roll my eyes so hard when like a woman would say, "Oh, I have three kids. One is married, one is at varsity, and the baby is 17." I'm like, "Huh? Why is the baby 17? What baby is 17?" Well, Tau is the baby and he's 17 and he's a baby, including his siblings call him the baby. Tsolo literally asks, whenever Tsolo asks about Tau, Tsolo says, "How's the baby?" So I get it. You have to get there to get there. So I want to share something that happens when you are pregnant and that really shapes how you become a mom and that shapes your mother-daughter, mother-son relationship. And it is true that everything that the mother feels, everything that's going on with the mother will impact the child. The reason gynecologists and midwives and doulas, birth doulas always say to pregnant women, be careful what you eat, watch your emotions, rest, eat well, be at peace, and so on. They know what they're talking about because literally everything that happens to you when you are pregnant will impact the baby in a way that you do not actually understand, in a visceral way, such that the issues that you eventually have with your child later began in utero, began with the child in the stomach. So I'm going to share my three pregnancies and my three kids, and then we'll see, where it takes us. So when I was pregnant with Solo at 16, the first time I figured out, when I found out that I'm pregnant, and how do you find out you're pregnant? A period is not coming. I remember, I mean, this is something that people who were never teen pregnancies or people who, um, the people who will relate a lot are people who had children when they didn't want to and teen moms. There's that moment where you just literally pray for that period to come. You just pray that, oh my God, can I just go on a period because you really don't want this? But I think after a few months, when it was clear that I am indeed pregnant, my mom found out, the whole family found out, the school found out, or at least at school, it was the principal or the main people. I then relaxed about it, and something happened in my psyche, which was, I mean, I don't know how to explain it, but I'm sure other mothers can explain it. I literally just fell in love with this child. And there was also that psyche that said, I love her. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to be a great mom. I'm going to show them. I'm going to work hard. I was in matric already, so that helped a lot. And I remember that sense, that clear sense of this is not a drawback. This is not a failure. This is fine. And this is why Sulfelo is named Sulfelo, because it would, it's hope for me that no, things will be fine. This is not the end. And my goodness, that entire psyche, that entire sense drove me. I worked hard at school and I passed my matric, did same year, gave birth in July. And in December, I got my matric. I was on the paper, I passed because I was really focused and clear that this thing is not going to be a drawback. But more than that, at an emotional level, I loved this baby. I remember telling Gogo, In one of the days, Gogo was giving all sorts of lessons as usual. Gogo was always giving lessons. And we were talking about my pregnancy and the child. And I said, I love this baby. And Gogo says, it's love this child. After the whole scolding and being kicked out of church, which we'll get to. But I was at peace with the pregnancy. It also helped that Tulu's dad accepted him like the minute I said I was pregnant. Although he had his own reasons, which we'll get to in the book, the whole township thing. It was a bravado to make a girl pregnant and so on. But it was also deeper. The fact that he accepted and he was fine and everything around my pregnancy was positive. I was not kicked out of home, except my dad obviously never spoke to me for a while. But everything was fine. So that support system, that fact that I'm not kicked out of school, I'm doing well at school, my mom is okay after a while. The father of the child is okay with the child. If anything, he's excited. He thinks he's the hero. I think all that contributed to how I felt in the pregnancy with her, even though I was a kid. And so when Sulu was born, she started working at 9 months as well. She just became a star. Without talking too much about her, because Sulu is very private and she's not like me. She's the opposite of me in terms of public whatever. I mean, Sulu is a professional dancer, one of the best in the country, and she's doing fantastic. She's doing so well. She makes me so proud. And I tell her, she makes me very, very happy. Not because, I'm living vicariously through her, but she just makes me proud that she is a well-established adult. And because of the closeness of our ages, I friends of mine always tell me that I have managed to do the whole mother-daughter friend dynamic well. I mean, Sulufelo and I are not buddies. She's not my buddy. But we are very, very close. We are very good with one another. We have clear boundaries. Like I'm not friends with her friends in as much as I'm friendly with her friends. I know most of them. They know me. I'm a cool mom to them, but I don't go out of my way to be a cool mom. I'm not her friend. So there is that thing that mama, and there is that thing that nana. There are moments where I'm like nana, and I'm famous for my lectures. Apparently, I give like big mommy lectures to them. Everybody knows the lectures, including the baby. So because of that closeness of age, we have very, very friendly without crossing the line. By crossing the line is that I really don't talk to sort of like I talk to my best friend, like, yeah, so, I don't, no. I don't know how I managed to do that. I think also inner work and the path that I took, the spiritual path, the learning, the reading the kind of books, and just understanding boundaries at an early age, and that helped. So the imprint from me and the sense of the way I was when I was pregnant imprinted on her. She's a high achiever, very, very steady child, very emotionally stable, sure that she's supported, sure that she's loved, sure that she can achieve anything that she wants. Because that is how I felt in the tummy. I hope when I was pregnant with her, I hope this is connecting the dots with you. Like, look at your pregnancies and look at your children and just remember how you were feeling where you were in your pregnancy and just see if it connects, right? Come my baby, my second child, Tebe, who I had at 22. Now, completely different dynamic, completely different child. With Tebe, I was 22 and I was married. And remember, I got married at 18. So by 22, I am already in my fourth year of marriage, mind you. I mean, I'm a kid. I'm a kid. And needless to say, I was deeply unhappy in the marriage, but I didn't know why I was unhappy. I think I was unhappy because I was starting to grow. I was starting to read books. I was starting to see that, no, I think this decision was not necessarily the correct decision. So when I was pregnant with him, I was confused. I did not like being married. I did not like where I worked. I did not want any. I was changing spiritually. I was getting out of church. Church was just a headache for me. I didn't understand what they were teaching. I was reading new books. I was already into Louis Hayes, You Can Heal Your Life. I had already read The Road Less Traveled by Scott Peck, one of the best books you can ever read if you want to start on a healing journey, on a rabbit hole, on a spiritual path. It's a deep book. It covers psycho-spirituality and a lot. It's a great book. I was reading that. I was reading Louis Hayes. I was leaving church. I hated my job. I hated my marriage. I was not sure it was a very, very tough time. I mean, if I wasn't that young, you could easily call it a midlife crisis. And there, bam, I'm pregnant. Now, guess what becomes of Tebe? Everything that I've just described. Tebe from a very, in fact, I think I can read a passage. Can I just read from somewhere just to explain Tebe? It's just a short passage because I just remembered. And there's new glasses. Those new glasses. Let me just read this part just so that you can hear the difference that I want to show you between Solo and Tebe. And that comes from, the state of your pregnancy. I sat here. Like Tebe, Solo is very intuitive, and I'll get to Tebe just now. Very intuitive. The difference is that Solo trusts her intuition and instincts, and she follows her gut. And she always does. Solo gets a gut feel, and she just goes for it. Tebe constantly doubts his. Do you see what I mean? And I wrote this without this knowledge that I'm sharing with you now. I mean, I wrote this book when I was in my mid 30s, 35, 36. It was published at 37. Um, I did not know what I know now. But then when I read, I see it that, oh, okay, so let me continue a little bit for you. Tulu trusts her intuition and instincts, so she follows hers and she follows her gut, while Tebe constantly doubts his. He will often say to me, I knew that I should have waited, Mama, or I wanted to do that, or I should have done that. I would always say to him that he needs to trust more, he needs to listen to himself more. And, just this part. Let me see if the rest would help. Tebe used to always say the sweetest things like, oh, Mom, I miss your face, I miss your voice. Okay, so that's just the character. Here in this part, I was describing their characteristics and all that. But it dawned to me that comes from how I was feeling in utero, how I was feeling when I was pregnant. I doubted everything. I wasn't sure. I was confused. I certainly doubted my intuition. I made very, very bad decisions. I mean, one of the bad decisions was to leave a well-paying job during the maternity leave. After maternity leave, I just thought, I suka aksabuyela, it was really, really a very hard time for me, 22, 23, and 24, which obviously led to me eventually leaving the marriage and divorcing. But that is just how being what your psyche, your emotional body, your physical body, even the things that you ingest, the things that you eat. That's why they always say when you're pregnant, don't drink, don't smoke, don't eat crap and all that, because it impacts the child. Well, a lot more happens. And of course, there's that ancestral line and bloodline and so on. But we'll get to that when we get to that. And so the third one, the baby, Tau, who came into my life in 2007, also a very, very difficult time of my life. I mean, 2007, I was losing everything. I was going bankrupt. It was just a very, very tough time, which I will share, obviously, when we get to that, just to talk about, because I want to touch on that when we touch on the themes of how you make bad decisions when you're in survival mode. I mean, hooking up with his dad and falling pregnant and not even having the thought to say, really, do I really want to keep, and I don't mean to be insensitive here, but the point of the matter is that Dao also came into my life at a very, very difficult time. I was anxious. Oh my God, I was in trouble. I owed everybody. I owed old suppliers. I owed the bank. I owed my house got repossessed. It was just a very, very difficult time. Different difficulty with Tebe's pregnancy, different vibes. And then guess how Dao becomes. Dao, without even talking too much, because I mean, I'm censoring myself as I talk here because I really don't like to talk about kibuele bana ba ka or kibue gagolo, especially if it's sensitive things. But without saying too much, Dao struggles a lot with anxiety, so especially social anxiety. And also he has this lack thing, Dao panics when his favorite thing is not there in the fridge. It's almost like he feels like it will never, ever, ever be bought. And I remember that's how I felt. I mean, I'm losing money, I'm losing things. And I think my psyche, my mind at the time was, I will never ever have again. And so these are the things that we are helping him with. He sees not a therapist per se, because I always feel that I'm on the fence about taking children to therapy. Let's just put a pin on that. I'll come back to it when the time is right. I feel like a child should say at 18, 19, 20, I think I want to see a therapist. I think we short circuit a lot, unless if it's like severe stuff, and then they deal with just that, But yeah. So there is someone who's helping him with his anxiety and me, and also telling him this, because all this they know, by the way. All this they know, how I was when I was pregnant with them. And I tell them now that, no, this is why this and this happens. Can we work on it together and so on? And so this, I don't know how far I am because I don't want too long videos, especially as a new YouTuber. But I just thought maybe let me share this with you and see how this makes you feel. Please do comment. Even if you don't know what to say yet, just like, show me some love. I'm a mom, for Mother's Day, please like. And let's talk about it. Let's see if something comes up, if a topic comes up. But before I close, I just want to say, because I promised you that I'll talk about my mom towards the end. So my mom passed away in 2017, and she passed away, in my opinion, at a very young age, even though it was her time. And she was 63. I look at 63-year-old women, and I'm like, huh? And my mother also had great genes. She looked very young. The only time she started to look old was when the heart condition, because my mom died of congestive heart failure, was when the heart condition, became really, really severe. And it was almost like one morning one day, because I had already moved to the Karoo. I see her in April, and then I see her in July. So in April, I see her, she's my mom. She's the mother that I remember. Then in July, I remember just looking at her face and seeing an aged person, like, look older. But I didn't tell her that. I mean, I'm sharing this with you. And in September, she passed away. Her heart had just, yeah, had enough. And we'll talk about all of that. I'll be writing a huge chapter in my third installment about my mother. So let me not spoil it too much. But one of the things that I will never forget that I took from my mom was her spirit of generosity. My mom was generous to a fault. Um, she not only raised the four of us, she raised a number of people. A lot of people stayed at home for many, many years, from her siblings, um, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. She served everybody, and we never, ever lacked for anything in terms of, our home never ran out of food. I remember one of my aunts used to call my home the leftover homes, because she would, every time she'd visit, she'd just have to open the fridge, and there would be like scaftings of leftover food from last night, nicely tucked in, stew from the other night, roast chicken from the other night. There was plenty of food. And my mom would always say that, just give some more, give, don't worry that they're taking, just give. And those lessons are coming so strongly now. I don't know if it's because I'm older, but I see a lot of myself in her. And I think if you are taught generosity, you are taught a big virtue. And people are not generous enough because we are living in scarcity, we are living in lack. The capitalist system is just squeezing all of us, such that you think if you give, if you share, you're not going to have. And, sometimes that's true, but most of the time it's not. Most of the time it's not. When you give, you get. When you give, you receive. When you give, and she is the one who taught me that give even from the little that you have. And I know this seems to contradict popular teachings that you must give from your flow. Yes, please give from your flow, but also give from the little that you have. And you know why giving from the little that you have is, in my opinion, more powerful. It's because then it tells the universe that you do not lack. You actually do not lack. So the little that you have is your flow at the time. So you don't live in lack. You don't look and say there's little. So that doesn't, so it almost just nullifies the whole little. Are you with me? It's a paradox type of phrase where giving from the little that you have actually proves that you're abundant, that you're living in abundance, because little for you is still flow. And obviously, yes, give from your flow when you have more than enough. But also when it's little, it's still more than enough. I hope someone is catching this drift. And with that, I want to say to all the mothers, you are playing a major, major role in these young lives. Endeavor to be great at this role. It is a sacred, sacred one, even though it's common, it is a sacred one. And remember that you're not raising little babies, you're not raising, the other day, I was watching Michelle Obama on the Jay Chetty show, on the Jay Chetty podcast. I told you I consume a lot of YouTube. And she says that their mother, who we believe now that she was one of the best mothers, their mothers used to say to them that they are not, she's not raising children. She's raising adults, which is exactly it. So sometimes we get caught up in the babies and the children stage and certain, the 0 to 10 stage and the 10 to 15 stage. And we forget that we are supposed to be molding adults, because adulthood, we live as adults. The rest of our lives, we are adults. Childhood is a passing phase, it's a short phase, and it's a phase where we need to mold and teach and sculpt really incredible adults. And I'm not saying that you're going to make it perfect. Sometimes, even when you do the best you can, children just do their own things. Sometimes their trauma from the pregnancy, from their own issues, comes in, and you can only just support and love and do the best that you can. So enjoy this day. I hope you are having a great lunch and you're being spoiled if you're a mommy. I'm alone in the car, and because I'm recording this on Thursday, I don't know if I'll get gifts, but maybe I'll record a shot on Sunday and just let you know how it's going. But I'm all on my own in the Karoo. All my children are away. Tao is in boarding school in Oudtshoorn, and Tsulu and Tebe are in the big city in Joburg. But they always just send me great messages and stuff. I'll see you soon. And this is my story. I cannot wait to hear yours.